My name is Obie, and I wrote this book called Dumisai and the Covenant of the Ancestors. Just to give you a little bit of a background about this particular book. This book is fiction. It's kind of in the vein of the whole Harry Potter phenomenon, Percy Jackson, all the stuff that's like really kind of very popular right now. But it's done from the standpoint of an African-American take on some of this type of young adult fiction. And the reason I wrote this book really is because when I was growing up, I was kind of into the whole comic book thing, and I was always looking for a character or a hero that was somebody that I could relate to. And it wasn't always something that was easily found. So, as I was growing up, I have four kids of my own. They've gotten a little bit older now, but I was always trying to convey to them, different stories that I felt would kind of capture their imagination. And they kind of followed me from the standpoint of being interested in science fiction and fantasy and magic and comic books and things like that. So I felt that if I could write a story that entertained, but also could convey some type of message, teach a lesson, learn something that they can actually learn some value from, that can transmit some of their cultural heritage to them in the process, that it would be well worth the effort to write such a book. So Dumisai is this character who is he's 11, about to turn 12 years old. He's actually an African boy. He comes from a real tribe, in Africa called the Chokwe. The Chokwe people is this tribe that is based in Angola. And anybody that knows a little bit about the history of Angola, that they fought like a vicious civil war there. It really just ended, I would say, about 5 to 10 years ago. So as a result of that civil war that they fought in Angola, a lot of the people were displaced. And some went into Zambia, which is a country neighboring Angola. And Angola is like, kind of South Central Africa. It's just a little bit north of Zimbabwe and South Africa and all of that. Okay. Just kind of give you a perspective in terms of where this country
I'm already recording here.
But if you're familiar with the Congo, which is another country that's like in the news a lot today, Angola, Zambia, Congo, they all kind of border each other. And there's several different tribes all throughout Africa, and even in a single country like Angola, there's several different tribes. But this book kind of focuses on this tribe known as the Chokwe people. And the Chokwe people are famous because they have created these artistic artifacts, these masks that are really kind of highly sought after today. So if you were to go to Google and you were to research it, you would see that they have these very elaborate masks that they use. Today is mostly commercial because of the colonization and everything that's going on. But initially, they had very spiritual significance. And there's a certain set of masks that were related just to the ancestors, and they called it the makishi. And makishi is like a plural version of the word akishi. So they would have these elaborate ceremonies where the ancestors would always come, and they would visit the people during like very important occasions to transmit very important lessons to the people. Now, that's kind of the background setting for this particular story, but Dumisai is this boy who is born in America, but he's born to parents who immigrated from Africa following the Civil War, or during the Civil War in Angola. Okay, so, but even though he's born in America, he's been raised in this kind of cultural enclave where he maintains intact his, his culture. So he's not separated from, he's not separated from who he is. A lot of times when people they leave their home country, they end up becoming kind of disconnected from their culture. So one of the points I wanted to get across with this particular story is the importance of maintaining a culture intact. Because a lot of times, as long as you maintain your culture intact, you have a much better moral compass in terms of how to go forward and how to deal with things in life. And you're not just being blown around by the winds of whatever popular whim is out there at the moment. So that's one aspect of this particular book. The other aspect is because of the knowledge that's being transmitted by these ancestors, Dumisai finds out that he has actually been gifted with this power. But in order for him to take advantage of this power that's been given to him, he must use it. But he must use it for the betterment of the world. It's not something that, hey, I wanted these powers because I can do these cool things and I can just go out and do whatever I want to do. If you actually want the power, you got to use it for what's good and what's right for the world itself. So, as part of using these powers that he has been given, he has to leave the comfort of his surrounding community, his surrounding village-type atmosphere that's been created around him and nurtured him through all these years. But as you know, in a lot of African traditions, traditionally, whenever young men and young women came of a certain age, they had to go through a manhood initiation, or a rites of passage type process. So this book takes this character Dumisai, after he has been informed that he has now been gifted with these powers, that he has to go out into the world now and apply it. But before he can go out into the world as a man, he has to go through initiation. And so this book takes you through the actual initiation process as the Chokwe people would actually do it. And there are a lot of other related cultures among the Chokwe as well, that if you were to do research on this particular manhood initiation ritual, it's called the Mukanda ritual for men. It's called something different for women because it's a different process. But because Dumisai is male, then we're focusing on the manhood initiation rites. But this is an actual initiation process that they go through among the Chokwe people. They actually still do it today. And some of the other groups that you will find that will do it that are related ethnically or culturally to the Chokwe people are the Lunda people. There's a whole lot of different groups, but they're all kind of culturally related. Okay, and they take Dumisai through this initiation process. He learns like these important lessons that need to be transmitted to every person or every male before they can actually consider themselves a man. Okay, once he learns these important cultural lessons that are being transmitted to him, and he's deemed a man by the community, then he now can no longer be treated or be looked upon the same way that you would look upon a child. He now has to go out into the world and make his mark on the world, make the world a better place. So that's kind of where the story picks up. He goes into the world. As you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world that would challenge anyone trying to live right. But since Dumisai has like these particular power that he can use for his benefit, in this process, he kind of has a special challenge that he's going to be confronted with.